So ladies and gentlemen, I've got to give you a bit of a warning up front. This is going to be a bit of a weird video I'm making today. I might even end up editing some things out if I don't feel comfortable with them being in the final product. But before I begin, can you give me a hell yeah that there's only two genders in the world?
Give me a hell yeah!
Give me another hell yeah in the comments below, because you know that makes absolute sense. Do you worship women's boobies like I do? Because I can't get enough of them. But somehow, when they're attached to insufferable females, then I begin to change my mind ever so slightly. But without further ado, and of course, you know, we've got to bring on the new opening titles with some modifications that I've added from yesterday. Because as I said to one of my subscribers below, Phoenix, I believe her name is, boy, I do hope you're a she from Southern America. But yeah, she was talking about the fact that she never liked me, ever missed an episode of Monkey back in the day. And of course, it's good to use that theme tune again and not even get a copyright strike for it. So kind of relieved right there. So without further ado, folks, here we go.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Works for me.
I wear sunglasses at night so I can track the visions in my mind. There's someone behind me, isn't there?
I'm still hot though.
What's that?
When the hell's breaking loose, you'll be right in the eye of the storm. Bones on an egg on a mountain top. The funkiest monkey that ever popped. He knew every magic trick under the sun to tease the gods and everyone and have some fun. Monkey magic, monkey magic. 69 dudes!
Now, as I've said to you before, guys, this video is going to be tons of crazy today. So just to take you back to last week, Mark Kern, Grums, he received a death threat from an anonymous user called Tone Man, because tonally they're deranged, offering a 20k bounty on the guy because he simply said, "Can you restore Stellar Blade to its former glory?" Now, the easiest solution to that, folks, I've actually got a secondhand PlayStation 5 and a brand new copy of Stellar Blade, which I picked up from Argos for £61. Still expensive, but you know what? I'm glad I got the game, so I'm going to be installing it offline today, and I'm going to get a few things ironed out before other things happen this week. So stay tuned. Now, this woman who calls herself Denims, she says she's the biggest Twitcher ever on that platform. She's a political Twitch streamer. Oh, can't wait. But this is the nonsense that she decided to go with just to give herself a bit of viral clout. Let's have a watch.
We'll watch this. Here we go.
Listen, I'll up the number, okay? 30k to anyone who'll make this dipshit disappear and make Eve's breasts bigger. Okay, you have to do both. All right? Because then it's a win-win for me.
What?
The funny thing is, this chick here actually has boobs. It's not like she's unattractive and flat-chested. She's quite the opposite. But I think this guy to be erased just makes her wholly unattractive, and definitely holy shit moments galore.
What a retard.
I get more breath.
Yep, couldn't agree more.
And I don't have to see that moron on my timeline anymore.
Oh my god. Well, she's so aggressive? Well, it's simple. So how do you deal with a situation like this? It's really easy. I contacted...
It's great how he's put her on mute and she keeps on talking. I think most insufferable females like Denims need to have a permanent mute button on them anyway.
Twitch about it earlier. I sent them the clip and we'll see what happens. And, you know, maybe after that, I might put in a police report. I'm gonna just wait and see how things play out. This is unhinged. It's completely unhinged. It's totally uncalled for. Yeah, this is like a felony. What is this? She's got me on the screen and she's saying that. Yeah, so I did see this. I thought it was quite ridiculous. It's actually kind of a surprise. She made a clip saying the cops would laugh at the clip and not take it seriously, Lamau. Well, maybe that's the case. I guess we'll find out. What
I said before was correct about Mark Kearns disappearing for 20 grand. But what this Denims chick has done is basically saying, look, I'm going to go one better. I'm going to offer you, any of you 30K out there, to get rid of Asmongold. That's her shtick. So this is Denim's official YouTube channel. She's only got 17,800 subs at the moment. Despite declaring herself, she's self-proclaimed as the biggest Twitch political streamer out there. This situation is absolutely nonsensical. It really is, ladies and gents. I mean, check out her YouTube banner. Now, I've got to show a bit of flex right here because, listen, Denims, if you want to make a eye-catching YouTube banner, this is what you got to do. Put some biological female breasts being ogled at by myself and Biff Tanner from Back to the Future, and you've got yourself an audience. That's all you need to do. Look at this. Yellow with a chance of politics and I mean, a 4-year-old could do a better job on Adobe Photoshop than what Denims has managed to conjure up here. So it'll be interesting to see if Twitch actually takes notice of Asmongold's email to them and the clip. They probably won't take any notice, but hey, at least he sent the clip off, so we'll see what happens, right? Of course, now it's the Warhammer situation once again. Now you're probably thinking, who is this gentleman right here called Bricky? Now Bricky made one of the most popular Warhammer videos about the lore of that actual franchise. It was in lockdown and I remember watching it. I was entertained. But of course now somebody asked him a question about female custodies. I've certainly been reading up a lot about that recently as well. So this was his answer to the question he was asked on a live stream.
Is foolish. Games Workshop has gone woke. First time. Woke is a phrase that is, for me, a pretty obvious signifier for someone who clearly is interested in getting a lot of views.
Well, actually, the term woke, yes, it's obviously redefined itself over the last few years in terms of pop culture, but it's a full set of ideologies. That's the basic common denominator now. You're forcing these ideologies, either you accept them or you die at the hands of Ming the Merciless.
Or describing in-group participation with a particularly nasty group of individuals, normally ones that give Elon Musk money on Twitter. No, I mean, it kind of also really shows, it's like a personal indictment that you don't actually keep up with the lore. Twice Dead King Rain had a Necron that was trans. There was discussion of gender and the concept of non-binariness, non-binary people.
It's funny that he has to tread carefully when he's binary and non-binary, like, oh, wait a minute, actually, the term doesn't really exist, but I can't upset my subscribers right here, because if I do, I'll lose a lot of subscribers. I can't do that.
With orcs in the Gaskell Thraka book, Alfarius, head of the Hydra, had a lesbian.
Yeah, the Gaskell Thraka book he's talking about, it's actually, in fact, I'll give you the title of the book, because I've seen it here, funny enough. It is the Gaskell Thraka, which was written in 2022. And I've got it on good authority that if you want to read all the good Warhammer 40K books, just go up to about 2014. Anything after that, it all gets very wokey dokey. And of course, the situation we've got here now. So this kind of reminds me as well that, oh, Tim Drake in Batman, yeah, he was straight for 35 years, but we retconned him, so he likes men, not women anymore.
You serious?
You can't set down a rule book and then have your fan base invested in it, and then later on you throw shit in their faces by telling them, well, This is the new rules going forward. Either you take it or you lump it. And people are clearly lumping it because they don't give a shit about any of this. But I came across this lady as well. Not in the literal sense, of course, because that'd be pretty disgusting. Although quite enjoyable at the same time, called Sword and Steel. Now, she's dressed up as one of the Sisters of Silence from Warhammer 40K, and people were calling her very anti-woke, and I've got to say, and I'm pleased to say, she absolutely is. Like, her delivery is really funny because she reminds me of Officer Hicks from the Police Academy films, albeit the white version of, but her delivery is really, it's very sweet and infectious, and you wouldn't wish harm on this lady. She clearly is a Warhammer 40K fan, absolutely. Hear what she says.
All over the place. I mean, what are you doing? It's just so ridiculous. But I will say that I do not appreciate Warhammer fans who appreciate the lore being called bigots for sticking up for it. The lore is so important. It's not everything, but do you know how many conversations I have had with people who adore the lore? And
unintentional rhyming.
might I remind you, I don't know who I'm talking to at this moment.
Me?
But might I remind you that Warhammer is a game. The lore behind Warhammer is a fantasy. And that's the way it's supposed to be. This is where people can free themselves from the craziness of the real world, which can absolutely be crazy. No one needs to bring that craziness into the 41st millennia.
Yeah, what she's talking about is, oh, do you want to make the Ultramarines all entirely male to have females at the head of the hierarchy? So, as one reader pointed out, yeah, the reason why they're trying to force this in, especially in the Amazon show with Henry Cavill, because you want to make the men cucks. You want to make them subservient to female custodies who've never earned their place at that throne. Well, actually, the throne belongs to the emperor. But it's hilarious. I mean, what are you going to have next? Like the female custodies committing heresy and killing the emperor? Is that what they're going to do next? Is that something they want to bring into the show for some reason? Because Amazon has no idea about Warhammer 40K? It's hilarious. And I think what Sword and Steel touches on here is very important. I mean, you've all got to bear this in mind, folks. You hate your job in real life. You hate real life in general. When you come home, there are things that you come home to that you want to immerse yourself in. Video games, comic books, movies, TV shows. You know, your physical editions. You might have statues or a Warhammer 40K tabletop game to play. You know, people want to get away from that. Of course, there's the gym. You know, you want to eat out maybe. And, you know, these are the things to bear in mind, folks. You know, I hate the real world at the moment. I've hated it for a long time. I didn't realize I was being consumed by it. I mean, unfortunately, the reality is, folks, we all have to make money by any which way you can. And of course, I'm quoting a Clint Eastwood movie there, but it all boils down to the same thing. I've even had a guy recently contact me on WhatsApp saying, listen, I've got all 8 seasons of Magnum on DVD. Do you want them? I mean, there's a bear shit in the woods. Yeah, of course I want them. I've already got the Blu-ray remasters, which are fantastic, but I want the DVD ones too, because eventually I want to put them on display behind me, because I'm a big fan of that show and I love Tom Selleck. So this girl, she absolutely is spot on. You know, she goes on to say, listen, we need more Sisters of Silence statues. You've only released a limited number, Games Workshop. But of course, you know, in the realm of 3D printing, people are looking to that now, making their own versions and their own factions of that particular sisterhood, as it were. So it's so funny that all the whaman as what's that group called again? The Pixies. Yeah. Here comes your man. It's ma'am. You're gonna call me ma'am. I'm Space Karen.
So let's have fun.
This is what Warhammer 40K wants you to be now. Be a hero. Warhammer Adventures. Yeah, I think that look and that fart sound effect makes up for nothing really. This is exactly what they want you to accept. So to bring a younger, impressionable audience in, it's the Warhammer Adventures. Would you rather watch this, or would you rather look at this instead? This is the 3rd edition rulebook artwork, from the grim dark days of Warhammer 40K. Of course, the gentleman in question here, I believe, is an Inquisitor. The rewards of tolerance are treachery and betrayal. Of course, the imagery there, you know straight away what that's alluding to. When the artists of Games Workshop, they went for an American iconic, if you want to call it that, image and just used it for Games Workshop. I mean, it's a frightening image, but more, look at this. This is great Warhammer stuff. Obviously, some of it is not from the old days, but if you go to the rulebook here and you go to some of the black and white grim dark stuff here, it is pretty impressive to look at. It's just incredible to behold. Look at that. I mean, dirty, filthy, even the flag looks like a razor blade if you look at it from afar. This looks incredible. I'm not sure some of this is actually updated from the workshop. It's like a modern day black and white version, but you know, I would rather look at this than Warhammer Adventures for little kids, because listen, I'm a big Looney Tunes fan. And you know, when Tiny Toons came out in the 90s, I loved all that shit because it was introducing me as an older guy to younger versions of Buster Bunny and Babs, you know, all, and that was great. And Daffy Duck and younger, that was all, Warner Brothers were definitely in tune then. But of course now it seems that I think Warhammer are genuinely ashamed of the violent, dark, grim or grim dark imagery they portrayed in their Games Workshop books back in the days. And it does make me wonder now if Henry Cavill has bitten off more than he can actually chew. And of course now, pronouns in Warhammer. So Adeptus Mechanicus, again, when you hear the last word, well, how can it be pronouns if they're almost non-human beings, right? I'm getting into Warhammer lore, 40k. I'm not an expert by any means, but I genuinely do find it really interesting. Been binge watching a load of videos recently, and it's like really opened up my eyes to a lot of things. It's the V and the Viz instead of he and him. I've never encountered this before, and the other Mechanicus characters use what could be considered standard pronouns. Is there a precedent for this? Does it indicate something significant like an honorific? And this was written this was like 6 years ago. And again, when you talk about pronouns being forced into the Warhammer 40k universe, now, some people have said already, well, that's always been around in that universe, and I don't doubt it for a second. But it could be one of these things that flies over people's heads. So I don't really understand like why they're pushing for this. You know, I guess Warhammer 40k Games Workshop absolutely hates its male audience. And again, you know, you're never going to get the likes of this lovely young lady in the Warhammer 40k universe. If you did, you'd probably draw more eyes to the prize. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And I did say to you today, this was going to be, oh, hello there. Don't you look rather resplendent and lovely today, my dear? Good grief. If that's my idea of hell, I'm certainly looking forward to dying anytime soon. But you know what? Looking all that grim, dark fantasy from Warhammer 40k reminded me that when I was a kid, one of the most horrific stories I had to endure was watching Peter Parker's girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, dying in his very arms. Now, it's always a popular belief that the Green Goblin killed her. He didn't, because he threw Gwen off the... it was a bridge, And then when Spidey spun his web to save her, it was the whiplash that caused her neck to actually break when he brought her back up. So, of course, in his fits of rage, he's like, I want to get revenge on you, Norman Osborn. You kill my girlfriend. When actually, he kind of unfortunately helped to finish that off, which is really sad. So, so for me as a kid to witness that, and this is before Warhammer 40K even surfaced in 1987, I had no idea that, I mean, look, the grim fairy tales, grim, the word itself would tell you this is not for kids. But hey, if you feel brave enough, kid, and you want to expand your imagination, this is the way to do it. So on that one, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed my video today. I've been doing a lot of virtual housekeeping on my PC, so I've got so many PNG files and YouTube assets that my computer decided to reset itself today, and I said, no, you're not doing that. I need my old profile once more before I can then decide to go for a full reset. So yeah, it's going to be a very interesting week for me today, folks. In fact, for the rest of the week, I should say, what am I talking about? I need to consume my lunch. But I tell you what, I do smell rather nice today. And on that one, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this video today, and I'm nearing on 1 million views on my channel, that's insane, isn't it? Leave a like below, smash that like and subscribe button, and if I were you, and maybe if you were her, and if you were me, you should come back for the next video.